Hi there. So I've been getting quite a few questions recently about the different ways in which you can use Turnitin. So I just want to put together a quick sort of 10-minute video about the ways that I'm hearing from schools and academies in the UK about how they're using Turnitin in their institutions. So a quick recap of the agenda that I'm going to be talking about is I'm going to be talking about how you can use Turnitin to check exams for plagiarism, how you can use it to check that students aren't colluding with each other, how you can ensure students are using reputable sources, creating good homework habits, protecting your professional reputation, and if you stay right until the end, there's going to be a little bonus in there as well. So the importance of integrity. As our CEO put it, integrity is at the heart of all that we do. It defines us. And integrity has to be really high up on the priority list at the moment, especially with the COVID-19 lockdown. Obviously, you know as teachers, it's hard enough to keep students off their phones during lesson times when they're actually in the classroom. But when they're at home, it's harder than ever to keep that kind of control. And exams have been paused this year, but students still need to be assessed. But exam halls are a thing of the past for now. So how can you make sure that integrity is still at the heart of exams, even if they are online? What I've been hearing some schools doing, and these schools are using Microsoft Teams at the moment, what they've been doing is they've been scheduling an exam to run from, say, 9 o'clock in the morning up until 10 o'clock. And what they're doing is that last 5 minutes of the exam, they're submitting an assignment with inside Teams with that very, very narrow assessment window. So what the student has to do is spend that first sort of 55 minutes completing their exam. And then that last 5 minutes is there for the student to upload their exam work into Microsoft Teams integrated with Turnitin. And what that does is it restricts the use of Turnitin right up until that last 5 minutes. So the student can't use Turnitin as a tool that they can help to improve their work and make sure they haven't fallen foul of plagiarism. So it really relates to that real exam settings, but it also gives that teacher the insight if the student has actually gone and taken inspiration from the internet or other sources. And of course, it's not just the internet that students will take inspiration from, it's very often their peers. It's now easier than ever for students to text each other answers. Obviously, they've all got access to WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, FaceTime, and a host of other video calling and chatting software. And it's going to be very, very tempting for them to use those devices to get answers for the exam, for the work. But the problem with this is assignments aren't for the students to go and text their friends about it. It's for the student to actually take on some learning themselves. And what can you do about this? With Turnitin, you can actually delve in and have a look and see who the student has copied off. So we can see here in the similarity report that we've got 2 matches to students that have submitted work at other institutions that are using Turnitin. And very, very soon, with inside Microsoft Teams, if a student has copied off another student in your institution, you're going to be able to dive in and see who that student was, so you can then investigate those occasions of collusion between students. And you can also ensure that students are using reputable sources. Obviously, everyone has heard of the term fake news by this point. It's been thrown around a lot in the media recently, but it's not just fake news that we have to be worried about. It's sponsored content, it's biased adverts that are disguised as fact. It's now harder than ever for students to tell fact from fiction online, because some of these articles can be written in a way that's very, very convincing, but in essence, what they're saying is wrong. It's been put that we're not just fighting an epidemic, we're fighting an infodemic. And I think that really, really is highlighted in the times now where you've got quite a lot of conspiracy theories going around coronavirus, 5G, whether or not masks work, etc. We actually partnered up with a company called NewsGuard. And what NewsGuard does is it provides sort of a nutritional label to different news websites. So it gives them a percentage score of how reputable NewsGuard thinks that source is, measuring them on 9 criteria. Things like, are they transparent about who wrote their content? Do they publish any conflicts of interest? And things like that can really help the student to understand not only if it's a good source, but why it's a good source as well. But it's not just NewsGuard that can help you steer students away from fake news. It's actually our all sources view as well. So you can see here in the Turnitin similarity report, we're looking at the all sources view. Now, an example I always like to use is if everything you're seeing on this all sources view is just Wikipedia, 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 you can start to have that conversation with the student and teach them about why they shouldn't be using Wikipedia as their primary source. Okay, so it can really help you as a teaching tool to open up that conversation in the classroom of, look, students, you need to be looking elsewhere on the internet to see if that information is replicated, and you need to be doing your own due diligence on sources before you include them in your work as well. We can also help create good homework habits. Now, when I was at school, if I was in the situation where it was 5 minutes before the lesson and I'd forgotten to do my homework, if I turned up to that lesson without any homework done, I would probably be quite embarrassed and punished for that as well in the form of a detention. However, in that 5 minutes, if I copied down word for word the work that one of my friends had done, or if I quickly went into the IT suite and copied and pasted something from Wikipedia and printed that out, then obviously the work isn't going to be of a very high quality and I'm not going to have learned anything. But crucially, I didn't get a detention or embarrassed for that work, but also I didn't learn anything. So the question's got to be asked, is it more important that the work is done or that the work is actually done by the students? And I think this answer is quite clear, and it's that the work needs to be done by the students. So the way that you can use Turnitin is if you use it throughout the year, the students will continually be exposed to Turnitin and know that at no point during the year can they allow their standards to slip. Every single piece of work has to be their own, and then by the time it gets to exam time, the students can have such good habits in doing their own independent work and their own independent research that they're not going to be tempted to plagiarize or take inspiration from the internet unless it's credible research. Okay? And finally, you can help protect your professional reputation. So Turnitin is used by all the major UK awarding bodies, and many of them mention us by name in their plagiarism policy. So by using Turnitin, you would have the same detail of information as awarding bodies already have access to. And using Turnitin in that iterative approach can give students their own opportunity to improve their work before submission, so they can take that information on board and think, if I can see this, my teacher can see this, so I have to go in and redraft. Otherwise, I'm simply not going to get away with this. And finally, what that means is that you're going to have full confidence in the originality of work that you submit to the exam boards to make sure that the exam board doesn't turn around and send a piece of work back to you with accusations of plagiarism from that work as well. Now, as I promised at the start, there is a little surprise for anyone that stayed till the end. This is one of our partner products called GradeScope. Now, GradeScope is fantastic for majority STEM subjects, and what it can do is group handwritten answers into discrete answer categories, and then you can mark each answer category once, and it will apply that mark to every answer in that group. So what does this mean? Obviously, there's going to be time-saving aspects of the software for you, not having to mark each individual answer. You're going to have absolutely fantastic consistency in the grading between students. So every person that got the same answer gets exactly the same detail of feedback. So there's no playing favourites, and really helps when it comes to Ofsted, as they love to see consistency and feedback. You're also going to get fantastic insights into individual students and classes as well, knowing what type of problems your class is struggling with most, and help you to really dial in on where you need to focus your efforts to gain the best outcome for your class as well. In response to COVID-19, the world of education moving online, and the world of assessment moving online as well, we're actually offering our Gradescope Premium free right up until the end of the year, December 31st. So if you like what you're hearing here, you can go to gradescope.com and sign up for your own free trial account up until the end of the year. So thank you so much for staying till the end. Obviously, this isn't a live webinar, so we're not having a Q&A. But if you do have any questions, please feel free to email me. My email's on screen. Hopefully this email will have come from my account as well. But just briefly, it's hmarshall@turnitin.com. Thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to hearing any questions.